Ramsey Nijum here with the Coach and the Casual. I wanted to start today's podcast as to kind of acknowledge what's going on in this world. It's really hard to sit here and sometimes pretend like nothing's going on and just continue our podcast, but there's a lot of death and destruction going on, and our prayers and our hearts are for all the innocent people being affected by this today.
Big thing, guys, is, I'm not some big political mind. I don't understand a lot of things that happen behind that. But all I do know is as a father and as a human being, you hate to see any amount of human suffering, regardless of what political reasons are behind it. So our hearts and our prayers go out to those who are struggling with and suffering at the hands of people with agendas. So,
and we hope this can be a little fun distraction, because it's been a great distraction for myself included.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get this started. This episode of the Coach of the Casual, we're going to break down UFC 294, who we think they should fight next, future picks. We're going to break down Jake Shields' episode, hanging out with Jake Shields, how interesting and different of a person he is. And I want to hear Kyle's casual perspective of hanging out. So let's get into it right away.
That was one of the biggest things for me, dude, is like I've only seen a lot of these guys like on TV and you look up to them. I remember Jake Shields back in, when I was first really getting into UFC and how he kind of changed the game. But hanging out with him in person was definitely an interesting. I mean, you've known him for years. But for me, the biggest impression I got is just a cool guy. I mean, it's, he obviously has I won't call it a shtick, but he has some positions on things that keeps him in the headlines. But when he's not doing that, he's just a funny, is that how most UFC guys are, just down to earth, chill guys, or what?
I mean, I think for the most part, I think Jake is definitely one of the more like down to earth guys that you'll meet. And yeah, like, it's so funny because now he's this big political, guy or whatever, like commentator, and really like he's just trains every day. And I think he just found a niche and he just went all in. I think like we got some good responses. Sometimes I don't even know if he believes in half the stuff he says. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
I don't know.
It was like he had said something interesting to me while he was here. I was doing my thing where I was like, oh, well, Jake, I mean, honestly, you're shorter than me. I could whoop your ass. And, he'd laugh about it. But then we were even talking about a couple of the different guys on the roster, and he was like, hey, listen, you can say some of that stuff to me, but if you say some of that stuff to some of these other guys, they'll take it as an actual thing. They'll fight you, you know what I mean? Which, to be honest, my personality, I'm like, oh, well, now I have to
now
try.
You have to. Yeah.
But the problem with hanging out with you is, so we go out, and we'll talk about going out a couple of times, but I'm excited because I'm rolling out there with Jake Shields and Ramsey, and I'm like, I can talk crap to anybody. And Ramsey right out of the gate is like, hey, listen, I'm not going to back you up. I'm not going to do anything. Like, he's the worst kind of friends. Like, I'm just going to let you get your ass
I'll just drink a beer while you're fighting and be like, well, maybe you should not go home because you got to poop during training.
Yeah. Well, that was emergency.
Yeah. The dude skips the day because he's got to poop, like. That's how you'll never be great, because you can't just take a shit and go, Well,
the thing is that I genuinely think that, so you remember a while back, like it was a few years back, but there was Ebola, and then later on there's been swine flu and different things. Of course, COVID-19, I firmly believe that most of the world's great diseases originated in the pit's bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's why I will never go to the bathroom.
That's why we didn't get diseases, because like anytime.
You're so immune.
Yeah, you're so immune. Like there's this meme going around like you're immune to COVID-19 if you grew up in like a picture of an old wrestling room. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I can smell it from here.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes I'll walk into the gym and it just stank. You're like, what? Like you've got nose blind.
Dr. Bob one time was telling me about it. He's like, he was a trainer for all different sports teams. And he goes, why do wrestlers just like to be so like gross and dirty and stuff? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm over on the Iowa staff, the number one team in the country. They have money, they have all this, but they still choose to work out in a basement with like rusty mats and like rusty. Yeah, it's just something about it. I think it keeps it hard. I mean, Jake, we'll get back to him.
Jake was the dirtiest person. I don't want him to hear this and fly back and whoop my ass.
Yeah, he's good, but he is not a very clean human being.
Okay, yeah, listen, I don't want to say something. Jake, you're a good guy. I really appreciate you. But I'm telling you what. So Friday,
But our hygienic standards are different.
Friday night, we're all doing jujitsu. That's when. Is that when Mike cracked my ankle? No.
No, that was Thursday night even.
Thursday he came in.
Yeah.
And so Thursday night, Mike cracks my ankle, right? Which was just bullshit.
Yeah. Hey, but shout out to Mike though. He got a fast finish, and now he's turned around and he gets the title shot. So
I'm really happy for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I'll bet you $1,000 he wins the title again.
Well, we'll talk about it.
All right,
but I'll make that bet, but then I'm going to go injure him in practice the day before on purpose. Which you did like 3 days before.
I know.
His fight.
3 days I heard him
You
before.
injured him. But yeah, so that we'll talk about that. I think we already kind of talked about it. But Mike, me and him, he's what, a 145er?
135.
135. What do you think he walks around at? 150?
Yeah, 155.
Yeah, so let's
You're
say
easily 100 pounds.
100 pounds on him.
If we're being like,
And so he couldn't really get me down, but a lot of the times that when I'm going with people, I'm so like tired of the effort of just pushing them off me that I'm like, all right. So we go down. This guy gets me in a heel hook, and he cranks it back and he looks at me like,
are you gonna tap?
"Are you gonna tap?" And then it just goes crack, crack, and I'm like, oh shit! And then he was like, he was scared too, and then I just kind of limped off the thing.
That's why he broke my rule.
So what's the rule?
No heel hooking someone that's a lower belt than you. You know what I mean? Like if you're a purple belt, you can't heel hook a blue belt. If you're a blue belt, you can't heel hook a white belt. You know what I mean? Like just like even belt. Because like you start to see these people that sit for heel hooks ruins their whole jiu-jitsu because like, all I do is go for a heel hook every single time. Then your like brain like reiterates that. And then so when rolling gets hard, instead of like the effort passing, you sit down for a heel hook. Even like Jake included, like he used to be the most persistent passer. And then when he started getting into heel hook game, you've watched his game, like even in his fight games, he's just not the same pressure, and he's getting older.
You know what I've noticed watching the fights though is that one of my biggest go-tos was always when you're like going for a double leg or something, right? I put my arm over your head, right? And which you always get mad at me for doing. It's almost like a reverse chokehold, right? I'm over your head.
We call it a bully headlock.
Okay, yeah. Who's we?
The whole fucking jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, so a bunch of uninformed people, but I'd call it a reverse headlock personally. But so I get over the top on you.
So you get your reverse headlock.
But to me, it's like oh yeah, it's gonna work. It's never worked. But I also, when I was watching UFC 294, I was gonna point out when they did it, but not a single person did it. Like when they would get doubled, not a single person put their arm over. It's just, is that something that gets beat out of people a lot pretty early? Like, hey, don't do that thing, because not a single person did it.
So like if we were training full goes, and I was like trying to beat you, instead of just help guide you through this jiu-jitsu, not hurt yourself or myself, I would actually pick you up. And then when someone grabs you like that, you're so glued to them, like it makes the double leg so much easier. Like I'll put you up in the air and I could actually hurt you. I was actually telling a funny story the other day about it. Like when I was a young man, we were having a party. I was in the UFC. A bunch of people came over, and this one dude, like, of course, we're drinking. He's like, "Oh, I wrestled in middle school." So he's like, "Yeah, you'd beat me in a fight, but in wrestling, he's like, I would definitely hold my own." I was like, "No, bro, you wouldn't even last 1 second." He's like, "I'd probably take you down." And of course, as a single dude, he's a single guy. There's some girls.
For the attention.
Yeah, there's some girls around, and we're all been drinking. So I was like, all right, let's go outside and do this. And he's like, no punching. I'm just a wrestler. And I'm like, you're not a wrestler, bro. You wrestled in middle school. Yeah, I was like, I wrestled in D1 college. So I double leg him, and he does what you did, is like glued to me, and I just flared out my double as high as I can, landed my shoulder right in his sternum, and you just hear, boom! And his sternum just cracked in, and he starts going, and then of course I'm like, oh shit! I think, and he's turning pale. He looked like Stover the other night after class, and yeah, I was like, dude, he's probably internally bleeding because it was loud, and he's like, I can't take a deep breath, and I was like, oh man, being nice to him, I'm like, sorry man, I was just trying to have fun, and like, let's get another drink or something, and get you
Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. You can hit me back.
Yeah, it was one of those moments. And ever since then, I realized like wrestling on the streets isn't fair.
Well, I bet he was at least 50 pounds lighter than you because
No, dude, he was so much bigger than me. He was some like big dude like you that lifted weights, and he's like,
good looking.
nah, he wasn't very good looking. That's why he had to beat me to get a chick, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting to me what natural reactions are and how easily they kind of get picked. Because, yeah, I mean, I think to go overhead to kind of immobilize you, but then you're just going to pick me up and kind of throw me over. However,
but then you always have a hard time because like we've been working front headlocks, and so there's like it's the same idea, grabbing a front headlock, right, and snapping someone down as grabbing their head. So then you're like, well, what's the difference? But they are really different because one I'm snapping you down with a front headlock, and the other I'm trying to like sit up into a guillotine.
So with Jake though,
back to it.
What I watched him do about 3-4 times is wear the same pants every day. And then we do jujitsu, and then he just put on those pants and go out.
Dude, yes, literally. And there's a shower at the gym, you know. And then we took
him back to the hotel.
We're like, hey, you can get showered and change, and then came with the same shirt and jeans and smelled the same. We're like, bro, aren't you gonna shower? Yeah, I remember being like, helping Jake get ready for the George St. Pierre fight, and he picks me up, and he's like, "Oh, I'll pick you up." He just got this fancy new BMW M4 sick car, right? And he opens it up, and there's just garbage everywhere. And of course, I had to get in the back because it was like Tarek was like, "I'm a front coach," you know. Yeah. And I was like, "Fine." I go to get in the back, and I step on a half-drinking bottle of coconut water, explodes everywhere. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, yeah, obviously not worried about it because there's trash everywhere. Swear to God, he did not get that cleaned until he sold his car. Until he got rid of that car. The coconut oil or the coconut water was all over it. And I kept on getting into his car. I'm like, bro, this is $100,000 car. Like, take it to get cleaned. Oh, yeah, I keep meaning to do that. And then he didn't ever clean it.
So is that a fighter thing or is Jake just crunchy?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of like dirty fighters, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of sometimes like, but I think it's specific, you know? And like, I think it just gets like really, really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like more exposed when you do a lot of jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? But like, dude.
Amplified?
Yeah, amplified. Like even like my one fighter, Darian, on Saturday night, he was talking about how he wasn't, last Saturday, he wasn't properly warmed up. And I was like, you know why? Because he smells so bad.
Nobody wants to
I didn't want to warm up with him, bro. I was like, I am not. And then Mike, Mongolian Mike was fine. I was like, he was warmed up great because he smelled.
First of all, his nickname is Mongolian Mike, or what's his nickname? It can't be Mongolian Mike.
That's his nickname, yeah.
That's his like fighter nickname?
No, his name's Huntuluk is what we call him. That's like warrior in Mongolian.
So like if Bruce Buffer was announcing
Mike Jimbadire, I say it. So I don't know. Even the announcer at the fight was like, will you say your last name for me? And I feel bad, Mike. I'm sorry because fucking Joe Rogan could never pronounce my name and it pissed me off. And so it pisses me off too.
But I'm saying, does he have a nickname? Like you were Naughty Nijum.
I was not Naughty Ninja.
That's what it says on Wikipedia.
Word.
It says on Wikipedia.
No, it does not. Pull that up.
Pedro Ramsey Naughty Ninja.
No. That was my stripper name, Naughty Ninja.
What was your name then? You didn't have one?
No, I didn't have one. You don't need a name. Your name's Ramsey Nijum. You don't need a nickname.
They don't give you a nickname if you never make it off the undercard? Is that kind of how it goes?
No. I've been on a couple main cards. Yeah. No, they don't. You don't have a nickname if you're a badass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you got to have some fake persona. But I'm the essence of martial arts, so I don't need a nickname.
You're like water.
Yeah, I'm like water, yeah. I'm like what's his name? The guy, the Book of Five Rings, you know? Masasi or whatever his name is.
I don't know.
I'm terrible with names.
Yeah. So, you know, our podcast has been going for a couple weeks now, and what I've heard some things. I heard some people feel a certain type of way. What have you heard coming out of the gym?
So everybody wants to beat your ass. And like everybody out there, like they just, but it's funny because it's just like, even my wife, for instance, was like, oh man, you guys are going too hard, blah, blah. Then the more she hangs out with you, she's like, if anything, you should make fun of Kyle more. I was like,
she said that you and Jake were bullying me.
Yeah. She said we were way too mean to you. But then like people at the gym just show up and they're like,
who's this Kyle Mo?
Yeah, who's this Kyle Mo? Disrespect in a sense and say, I'll hurt him, you know? And I was like, dude, he needs to be taught his lessons. Bow in line.
The thing is, what I've kind of come
to your sense.
What I've kind of come to realize is that just and I haven't had that much experience going to the other classes and everything, but I don't think there's somebody out of the pit that could whoop my ass.
Yeah.
So it's just honestly, how do you warn them like, oh, he's not the one?
Yeah. I just tell them all like, watch out for Kyle.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong white belt. You know, he knows. Yeah, he might grab your neck and squeeze on it, crank on it. My neck's still sore actually from last Thursday.
Well, what's the worst part?
And I played on hurting yours today.
Yeah, that's the thing is you wanted to hurt me on Friday, and I was like, no, I'm waiting for Madeline.
And then Madeline showed up, our 155-pound girl, and beat your ass.
That's not true. We'll talk about that. But is it an effective form of, first of all, you say I do dirty stuff, right? But both you and Dom have both rape choked me and gotten on my back.
Throat choke.
Yeah, throat choked me and gotten behind me and like I was a little kid. Put your hands over my mouth and nose.
But you deserve it.
So then I
you deserve it.
Is that okay? Is that allowed to say? Oh no, you can't do that.
No, you can't. No, you can't do it with a white belt. No, dude.
Yeah, that's wild.
How disrespectful, brother.
That's wild.
You gotta respect the mat and the upper belt.
Dom is worse than you because I'm sure you could whip my ass worse, but you've got the self-control to
yeah.
I mean, Dom's good about it. He could do way worse to me.
Yeah,
He's just so on top of me.
I know. Then you just keep making comments about him growing up poor and you growing up rich, and then you're like, well, at least I grew up. And then like I'm like, dude, now he's gonna beat your ass.
Well, every time we go into training, I try and make you guys angrier so that I can get a better workout. Because honestly, I haven't had a workout yet where I walked away. I was like, oh wow, that was a tough workout.
Oh yeah, remember our first MMA sparring?
That was a fluke. It was my first day back.
Oh, yeah.
First day back in a week and a half.
Yeah, that was a fluke. Our workout was 9 minutes, and you're like, this is fucked up. I'm leaving.
Terrible. That was terrible. Because the thing is, sparring with you, doing anything in the cage with you is annoying because you put so much pressure on that I don't even get to learn.
You just run away on the big mat.
I've never run away from anything, but it's so interesting to see, like with Madeline, I actually got to learn because she respected my power so much, whereas I haven't had to teach you that lesson yet.
Because I don't respect your power. You have none. I literally can put my hands down and let you, and you're gonna like load up the punch. It would just fall off.
Yeah,
you know?
You think so?
I think so. I'll do it right here. I'll let you hit me as hard as you want.
I wouldn't do that because for me,
you'd break your hand.
No, I don't want to go to jail for animal abuse.
Oh yeah. You break your little hand. Let's look at those hands, dude. Let me see it.
Dude, these are meat hooks.
Let me see that.
You see these things?
Come here, look at that shit. Oh, open it up.
I got bigger hands than you.
Oh, you got decent size.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Right. They just look small because your body's disproportionate.
so large. Well, let's talk about me going with Madeline. So first you wanted to spar, and at first I said hell no.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that every person from the gym, if they want to fight me, it's not even gonna be training. They're just gonna be trying to hurt me.
You, yeah.
Which
that's what happens when you talk shit, you know.
They wouldn't be able to, but still the concept of them trying to do it is, to me it goes against what martial arts is, which is an opportunity to you just grow.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Will you define martial arts?
For me, it's an art.
How do you define martial arts?
Yeah, it's
white belt.
It's within me. You know what I mean? I was given this analogy the other day about jujitsu, right?
Oh my god.
But anyway, so we start rolling, me and her, and
it's just like at your like family Christmas party or Christmas.
This reminds me a lot of
everyone's gonna be in gis and like your Christmas cards are like everyone's smiling in their gis together, and then you're like, dude, what a and then now his name is Kyle Deaver BJJ on Instagram, and all of a sudden you start speaking
the official Kyle Deaver.
Yeah, Portuguese accent. You're like, oh, boa, brother. Oh, very good.
So Madeline comes in, and honestly, okay, so she was better at technique than me, obviously. But do you think she was surprised at how much my strength played an advantage? Because if she had her skills and ability, but was bigger, she would have whooped on me hard.
Yeah, and like for her to win, she's got to weather your storm.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, she was like, and that's the thing, like she would take every shot because if you can't finish someone, you might like you were saying, like on that, what'd you call it, reverse headlock?
Yeah, upside down headlock.
Oh, upside down. in your upside down headlock, you might be like ripping around and fuck her neck up for the next 3 weeks. But once you let go of it, and she's still awake coming at you, then that's why, like, I think you're learning is like energy expenditure is actually one of the most important parts of fighting.
Yeah. So she tried to shoot on me, and she weighs what, 155?
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Bro,
smaller.
it's hard for me to shoot on you though, because you're so heavy. You know what I mean?
Strong, good base.
Yeah. You got a good
and
doctor.
And then you got a face.
You got a good. Yeah, you got a really good.
Then you get your face right in the money shot.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You don't want to be in there. But so she shoots on me, and do you think has she ever rolled with somebody big?
Yeah. Like she rolls with big, strong dudes all the time, and she actually enjoys that, like grabbing like a beginning white belt guy and fucking him up and like.
What do you see about like with Madeline? Because what I see a lot of times is girls who are rolling jujitsu. It's almost like lady cops where they got something to prove, but it doesn't feel like that's the case with Madeline. Madeline feels like very humble and excited to learn with it. Why do you think she's different?
I just think she like likes the sport, like you know what I mean, like and especially like I don't know, like women. I feel like that find it later in their life. It becomes more of like a joy, a hobby, like a lifestyle compared to dudes like yeah, it's a little bit of a lifestyle, but it almost becomes like a way of life as a dude because you're like, I have to be able to beat up all these guys. You know what I mean? Like it really questions you as a man, but like I feel like it empowers women maybe and like they feel like more like, oh, the more I know. Like, because I think for me, if I was Madeline, the fact that she didn't get finished
Submitted,
by
yeah.
you, that would be a win.
And there was even a point I got all the way, and I was skipping steps because I was a lot stronger than her, so I was skipping steps, and I even took her back.
Yeah, and you had that choke.
And I didn't do it by passing either. I just
like,
by
and then you got on her back, and
I had the hooks in, and I still couldn't tap her. What was I doing short of tapping her? Why didn't she tap?
You just didn't have like the choke in the right way, like deep enough. Remember, bottom arm's got to be on the side to choke, and you got to use your hips constantly. Everyone thinks you're gonna choke with your arms, but your arms go so fast, and then like you could feel that like even my arms doesn't have the right pressure where I need to cut off blood on both sides, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it's like for every woman out there that wants to learn how to defend themselves, like you think there's gonna be some pretty like, and that's one thing Madeline does not have a false sense of like corner store karate guy where he's like, you do this, you hit him in the groin and poke him in the eyes and you're safe to get out of there. But like to her, and I think to a lot of people that train at like, especially women that train at martial arts gyms where there are actual fighters, you learn like, oh, I don't need to win this. I just need to be able to survive.
Yeah.
You know, even like we talk about Mike Langford, you know, he just turned 51 the other night. And for him, he's like, I'm not trying to win any of these tournaments. He's like, if I could just hold off and survive against a young 19, 20-year-old kid, and then they get tired and I keep winning, that's a win.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think that's like for her, I think that was a win for her, like going against a dude that's literally over 100 pounds bigger than her and not getting hurt.
Yeah, and then eventually she did heel hook me, and I tapped. It was super early in it. I don't even think you were looking at that point. It was super.
Yeah.
It was super early in it, but you just kind of scared me so much on heel hooks that the
And
second
Mike
somebody's got
popping
it,
your,
I'm like, oh
yeah. Huntula kid in your.
Yeah, I wasn't even feeling it, but you just told me like, oh, if you give me a heel hook, tap.
Yeah. And Madeline's not the safest one. So I'm
Yeah,
like, tap
she's
her,
really
she'll
correct,
rip that shit out. Because then that is where the lady cop part comes out, where they have
Really
something, when they get a
prove it.
submission.
And
But I tell everyone, dude, the worst pain for me is like when a smaller female gets on my back and like goes for a choke. I tap so fast, not because of like being choked, but the pain of like their little bones gets between like vertebrates. It literally hurts like more than anything.
And I even told her beforehand because Talon, that bastard, 3.5 weeks ago,
Yeah.
he was going to get a choke in and he drove his fist through my trachea is still bruised.
Yeah,
I told her beforehand, listen, I'll roll with you.
Just
Don't heel hook me and don't drive your fist into here.
I love it though. You're like getting the lessons of
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. And like, you know, we were talking about him earlier, Dr. Bob, like when he's been doing it for about a year now, and someone all the time asks him, like every time a new person comes in, like, oh, hey, you're a doctor, my neck hurts. And of course, like everybody's gonna assess you at the gym.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, welcome to jiu-jitsu. And that's it.
that's how it
He's like, someone's like, oh, my back hurts. He's like, my back hurts every
Yeah.
single day I
Every
do
day of
this.
my
He's
life.
like, and they're like, well, what do you do? He's like, I wonder why I come here. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But I mean,
And then me and her, so we went and sparred. It was a lot more fun sparring with her than with you. So we laced up the gloves and everything.
Yeah.
Because with you put on so much pressure that I can't even extend. But with her, I got to practice like jab, body, or I'd go jab, jab, body, and then I could go jab, jab, body, and then a big left hook because she dropped into the body.
Yeah, like started fading. So kind of like what Islam did to Volk, You've
talked a lot about why, I do privates almost every day, but why I should be coming to the classes with people a lot less experienced because I can learn a lot there. Why is that important for people who are learning the sport?
So it's like you got to kind of have a balance because for you, like I would say most classes are dangerous for you just because you're like a beginner that's strong. So as soon as you start like winning anything against somebody, their ego pops up. And that's why I'm always like, don't go to class for sparring because then you go against some other young guy that's like, you touch him once and he hits you harder and it escalates unless you have like a good core group that's going to control it. But then I think for jiu-jitsu, you need the different looks, For sparring, I don't necessarily.
What are you doing if I come to a sparring class and me and some other big guy just start wailing on each other? What's your move? You step back and let it happen? Or
No. I mean, like, I wish I could. Like, I would step back and let it happen. I step in and break it up and put him on the bag and mix it up. And then, like, obviously I know who can go with who and stuff like that. I actually call out rounds in my gym, and I think most people should. Like, I know it's a kind of a new school way of handling it, but insurance wise, you should be calling out every round. Like, it's too risky nowadays. Like, you just get too many common casuals to come in that were like, hey, I watched the UFC. I've been sitting on a couch. I want to learn how to, and they have like some skill because they watch every fight and they know like a little bit. And then, so I don't know. It's kind of like, I like to call it out. I like to make sure people aren't sparring until they've at least have like a certain base, you know what I mean? And it's like you go to other gyms, imagine them being like a all you can eat buffet. And I'm kind of like that 7-course meal, we clear your palate each time.
Yeah.
And
okay. Well, that's a lot about what's happened with us this past week. Let's really get into it.
We've had a very busy week.
It has been.
We spent a lot of time together this week.
Too much time.
Honestly, too much fucking time.
Everybody would say.
Yeah, I think it's kind of getting weird now, a little bit.
We got Whitney asking us to share location to make sure.
She wanted to make sure you got home safe.
We were supposed to go to Wendover and gamble.
Oh yeah.
But earlier that day, you had taken hundreds of dollars from me. I was like, "F you guys."
Yeah.
I'm not going.
You canceled your Wendover trip because you lost.
You guys took all my.
I was on a heater though.
Yeah, you were out of money, and you.
I wasn't out of money. I just had all my money you won off of you. So, I was like, but you guys were trying to steal all my money, still trick me. You know?
Guys did steal.
Careful
money.
Gambling at the Deaver house. Like
there's house
all
rules.
These, yeah.
There's house rules
that just show up so you don't leave with anything. Like,
I lost.
It's
too.
like,
So we get into UFC 294. To be honest, I didn't even love that card that much. The things that were happening in there made it less fun. How outmatched the two main cards wasn't as fun. But also, like, how about that doctor telling that one guy that he didn't get kicked in the balls?
Oh, yeah.
That guy got kicked square in the balls. He was vomiting blood in the back.
That's the same doctor?
The same one that called the Johnny Walker
Oh,
fight.
was it? Dude, what was that guy's deal? Like,
yeah, people are really mad.
Wait, and then my favorite part, what was the other dude's name? Can you pronounce it? That fought Johnny Walker?
Magomed?
Magomed? Magomed.
Not gonna work here anymore.
Yeah, not gonna work.
You ever seen Office? Office Space. Not gonna work here anymore.
All my friends would say that shit to me. But yeah, Nagamadov, dude, like he was out, and I was because we bet on that one.
We bet on that one too, and I took Johnny.
You took Johnny for the odds because it was like 3-1 almost.
Yeah, so I bet 100. If I won, you had to pay me 300.
300, and I would win like
you'd win $100.
Yeah, or like 280 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
which I thought was one of the best odds, which that's why fighting's so wild.
Johnny was outclassed pretty early.
Yeah, that's why it's so wild. And the dude throws the illegal knee, and I was like, oh shit, you're gonna get DQ'd. And
I was so excited. Yeah. And then they call it no contest. Why is it no contest? Because of unintentional? How do you gauge intentionality?
Yeah, I think we need to bring on Bowler, or someone that's because I want that to be explained. Was it unintentional?
You agree it should have been DQ.
It should have been.
Which means that you agree and I agree, so you should have paid me for
I
that.
should have paid you. Yeah.
So let's just take
No,
that out.
I mean, but we follow the house rules. You know what I mean? The Vegas house rules.
That's
The bigger
wild.
those overtake the deeper house rules. But dude, yeah, that was like I think he was the best favorite on the card by far.
Well, yeah, Johnny just didn't. I knew Johnny was in trouble. So when that illegal knee happened, I was like, oh yes,
Yeah. But I love though they both agree that they want to fight, and then the ref has already like stopped it, and the doctor, and they're both like trying to fight, and
That was
everyone's
crazy.
running in. And
Did you watch it again? Johnny shoved the ref.
yeah. He's like, no,
of
get out of the way. We're gonna fight. Yeah.
That was wild.
And like I could see like how you were saying like maybe Johnny's trying to save face.
Yeah.
But did you see what he said? They go, "Where are you?" He goes, "In the desert." And they acted like he was concussed or something.
Yeah, but he is in the desert.
That's what I was, dude. He was
Yeah.
in the desert. He's probably like, I don't know the name of this place
Yeah.
in English. I don't know. He's like,
Yeah, that was-
then they kicked him out again. You see that with no shoes?
I think that was fake.
Oh,
because
was it?
It was the same picture with the same haircut when he got
Oh,
kicked
yeah,
out in
okay.
Vegas.
All right, I got trolled.
With no shoes on.
Yeah, they should have kicked him out after that. Like,
Well, he shoved the ref. What I was saying was I thought he was going to win by DQ, and he was trying to put up a front, like showing, like, no, I want to fight because he didn't want to get torn apart by the Abu Dhabi people. you know?
yeah, they'd be pissed about that. Yeah, that was nerve-wracking bet. But honestly, I thought that was like, I don't know, like I felt the odds were just too
Well,
close.
no, but Johnny was outclassed.
I know, but I'm saying they're too close.
Yeah,
It should have been like a
should've been further
7-1 almost. You know what I mean?
So
Same
then-
with like Volkanovski and Islam.
Well, Volkanovski, he's such a puncher that he's got the puncher's
chance.
We move up to next one though was Kamaru and Chimaev, right?
Yeah.
And that
Wolf.
Yeah, Kamaru did a lot better than I thought. The first round I was like, oh, this is F.
Over,
So I
yeah.
took the dog. I took Kamaru
Yeah,
again.
he took Kamar.
3-1
Ended up being a decent bet.
odds.
3-1. Yeah, you got 3-1 right as we walked out.
But that second round, he was punching him.
Bro,
thought he
I was
had him.
nervous, dude. And then
So
he
Chimaev
could have
just
won.
Burned out or what? What do you think?
He said he broke his hand, and then it was hard in the second. I don't know, but right? He said the second round.
Wrist in the first.
Oh, in the first, he broke his wrist. But I don't know, man. Like the whole Bruno fight, with Chimaev was a similar thing. I think his chink in his armors keep showing. Like a Martin Vantelli would have been a tough fight, or the real fight, the Costa. I want to see that now.
Martin Vittori, right?
Martin Vittori, yeah, Italian dude.
Yeah.
Vittori.
You said Costa. Costa, do you think Costa has gas tank? Because Khamzat tired out. He was
Khamzat has no gas tank, really.
Yeah.
I think he just comes out too hard. He just
Well,
comes
that's the
out
thing is that
crazy.
he did what he did to Kevin Lee, but it was so quick.
Kevin
Holland.
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 Yeah. Kevin Holland. Yeah, and kind of racist, but
Yeah.
cut that out.
Two Kevins.
Yeah, black Kevin.
Kevin Holland. So it happened so quickly with Kamaru. I thought Kamaru, but you know what I noticed in that first round is he kept taking Kamaru's back and even almost getting the choke in and then abandoning it. Why do you think he was
He
abandoning
wasn't
it?
on the jaw. Like I think every time he was gonna go for it, it looked like he was probably gonna fall off.
So is that a Khamzat problem or is that just Kamaru's really good at the defense?
Kamar's really good at the defense. And then Khamzat's got to flatten him out. You can't go for a submission without position. So he needs to flatten him out, put him flat on the mat. It looks like Khamzat doesn't get pushed in his training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like he's probably just top dog everywhere he trains. Everyone's scared of him because he looks like he probably spars too hard.
Yeah.
So then that's the problem with these fighters is like, who are you going to get to go in and push Khamzat in a 5-minute round? Other than another Kamaru, someone he's got to fight.
Yeah. Like,
So you need to like train smarter, not harder. Is like, okay, but Khamzat in bad situations, like someone starting on his back over and over, like fresh guys, so you can recreate what it feels like to be a
How do you
fight.
think Usman does with a full camp against?
Dude, he is a welterweight, 9 days, moved up. He did great. I think he's full camp. That's a closer fight.
Yeah, he's got. So you feel like he's got nothing. I mean, the 2 losses to Leon is tough for him.
Yeah.
You think he's got nothing to feel bad about this fight? He should feel
bro.
encouraged.
I think if anything, that should encourage him. Like I thought it was going to be a lot more one-sided, and you turn around at a 5-round fight, dude. That's a closer fight because think about it: is Kamaru beat Strickland, right?
Kamaru beat Strickland.
Yeah, at welterweight.
When?
Like when Strickland had hair and he was still a
Couple
baddie.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was a hot dude. You know, I'm not gonna not to sound gay, but
Stover, can we get a fact check on Strickland being a hot dude? What was your opinion on that?
Is he a baddie?
I'm gonna say negative.
Yeah.
But that's
Look it
just
up,
me.
dude. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised. Like his first fight against Usman, he was like a male model, and like you're like, oh yeah, let's watch this fight. You know, long hair. Then the next one's
What'd
like,
you think? But what'd you think of his body?
it was nice. He had a nice body.
Yeah.
And then like,
He looks skinnier.
right? Because he
Yeah.
was making welterweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, show him.
What was your favorite feature of Strickland's when you thought he was good looking?
When he had hair.
His eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. But then, anyways, though, but he got beat by Usman by like just wrestle fuck basically, and then I think Strickland at 85 is more dangerous because he's bigger. But I think that still could be a weird look because I don't know, man. Who do you think is gonna win? If
Well, Jake said that Strickland's actually pretty tough to submit on the ground.
that's what remember,
He's not aggressive on the ground, but he's tough to submit.
and tough to hold down.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, dude, that's a terrible matchup for the Wolf, man.
Would you say that Chimaev immediately goes to wrestling, or it looks like he wants to strike? I mean, with Holland,
No
he
way,
went
bro.
to
He'll go
wrestling.
straight. It seems that's his thing. Like right when he comes out, he just goes and maybe that's just like how he gets like confident. Like he gets a hold of you, myself included. Like I want to like hold you for a sec and clinch up, but like feel how strong my opponent is.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah. Smell them. They smell bad. I get pissed.
Just walk away.
Honestly, though, if you do smell bad, like fuck you, bro. Like, we live in America. Take a shower.
That's one of the
put
things
on
that made me
deodorant.
quit jujitsu when I first did it down in St. George years ago. It was like I was rolling with this one little guy and I almost vomited.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't want to go roll with it. I smelled his gloves and I was like, dude, get away from me,
Yeah,
stinky
dude, there's
bastard.
sometimes people. I'm like, dude, there's a shower in here.
Please, you
Like,
stink.
go take the shower. I'll bring clean clothes for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll grab some out of my clean pile, please, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so then the last one, it was honestly pretty disappointing. So I took Volk, I took the dog.
Yeah, I took the dog.
Uh,
but you've been taking Volk before that.
Yeah, because Volk is such a puncher, dude, but he was so much smaller than
Yeah.
Islam. Islam's so much taller.
And I think with the full camp, it would have been similar.
You think it would have been the same fight?
Same fight. I mean, maybe not the same finish, but there would have been a first round finish.
Did you watch the video later? Like, even Islam was like holding his head up with his knee so he could keep punching him.
Yeah.
Because he was going to fall down, and Islam held him up with his knee and was punching.
Punching him. It was nasty.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I just think Islam's just on a different level. Like, who do you think Islam could fight next?
What division is that? 155?
Yeah.
They've
Casual. What division?
they've talked about that being. They've talked about Connor. What would you think about Connor coming and fighting him?
I mean, it's not going to be a fight.
It's a puncher though. He's a puncher.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's his one.
That would
chance.
be his like Khabib revenge.
No way, dude. I mean, of course, the
Now that
casual
USADA's
fans
gone.
like, hey, what about
Connor deserves the
Conor
shot.
McGregor deserves it. You know who that is? I've never heard of her. What's
The
her
greatest
name?
of all time.
Conor McGregor.
But you don't think
Sinead
you
O'Connor?
don't think that's a bad? Well, every striker gets in trouble against a wrestler. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. And then the only other dude that's in top right now would be Gamrot for
You don't
155.
think Oliveira comes back and gives him problems?
No, man. I think Oliveira, like that was supposed to be it originally. I think Volkanovski and Oliveira were getting finished by.
What about that one that Volk beat the jiu-jitsu guy, the Mexican guy, Rodriguez?
Oh, not it.
not Yair.
No,
What's
Yair.
his name? What's his name? The Ortega, Brian Ortega.
Oh, not a close. No.
You don't think so?
No. Brian Ortega, once again, another casual fan's perspective. He's like on a 5-fight losing streak.
Yeah,
But he had a hot
but-
girlfriend. He's good looking.
Yeah, but
right?
also he's got a heart. You know.
Yeah, he's got a heart. Yeah.
What do you think of Gaethje though? You don't think he could do it?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the one that makes sense is Gaethje, but no way. I don't think Gaethje can do it. Like, if anyone could do it, would be a Gaethje-style fighter. You need a power puncher that can wrestle would be the person to beat Islam, right? And that's the one loss was the Brazilian black belt. What's his name? I know his name. Crap, I just was reading it today. But anyways, he was like a Brazilian black belt that can wrestle a little bit with some power. So that's like, I think the one guy, but there's no one in the division that brings any threat. Yeah, Gaethje would be maybe a fun fight, but I think Gaethje goes for one leg kick. Islam takes him down and finishes him on the ground.
What would you think about like Islam versus a Khabib? They wouldn't fight,
Yeah.
but how would that go? You think Khabib's really the greatest grappler of all time?
Yeah. for sure.
You think he could come back and whoop his ass or what?
I don't know. That'd be a tough.
They
one.
wouldn't do it because they're all in the
they'd
same
never
family.
Do it. You know, I've always heard though the other Nagomedov is the most deadly one.
Who's the redhead?
No, the Bellator champ. What's his name? I'll look it up right here. Who am I talking about?
Are we talking about Nurmagomedov or
Yeah, what's the
Nagomedov?
Bellator?
Usman Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, Usman. Yeah, Usman is his cousin, and everyone says he's the most badass out of all of them because he's got like Khabib style level of grappling, but with like amazing striking. He's knocked. I mean, it sucks that he's in Bellator. I think they put him in Bellator early because the way the Dagestanis sounds like they kind of line it up is like our number one guy goes here, number two here. You know what I mean? And then
Kind of get every.
yeah, and then there's like another person waiting.
Yeah.
That's what Ali would tell me all the time. He goes, you think these top Dagestanis are the killers, but there's an 18-year-old kid waiting for his turn, the number 3 kid in the country's waiting, the number, you know what I mean? So he's like,
But there's got to be parity. I mean, the thing is, how long can the Dagestanis reign? You know what I mean? Because the thing is, people are going to learn that and learn how to beat it. You know what I mean?
but that's what's tough. It's like they're only gonna reign as long as like every other country's soft. You know what I mean? Because like they're winning off of not like a skill that you need to go learn, but just like being tougher.
Yeah.
And just being more like, so until like we like no one in Europe, no offense to Europeans out there, but they just don't have that toughness and they can never have it just because maybe life is too soft there. Americans, we can have it, you know, like Mexicans, South Americans can have it, but like the Dagestanis are just on a different level, man.
So here's a question: if you're American when you go in a bathroom, and American when you come out, what are you when you're in the bathroom?
European.
European.
Terrible. Terrible. Cut that one out, please.
I will.
So that's
Yeah.
actually going to be the promo for this whole episode.
Yeah.
We'll just clip it, but then take it out of the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, just clip it. They can't even find
No,
it.
that's
And-
going to be the. No, we're not cutting that. Okay, there was news this last week and a half about USADA going away because of Conor. What was your opinion on all that?
Oh, dude, it's just, I don't know, man. That's a tough one because
You
I
never
don't-
had to deal with USADA.
no, I never dealt with them. And honestly, that was actually how I got out of my contract with them is because I was stuck in a really low-paying contract and I couldn't get out of it. But when USADA came in, it reopened everybody's contracts. So then I was like, well,
That's not what you had agreed to.
yeah. So I was like, I wanted more money. They said no. Then we kind of separated after that. But I think it's like an interesting thing because it's not real. It's fucking fake, man. Do you know who tests the Russians?
The Russians.
A Russian USADA company.
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, everyone's like, oh, why are they? Oh, what's it called? Team Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand. They're so good. I'm like, oh, I wonder why everyone goes there. Probably because they have great steroids.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't test.
Yeah, they don't. There's no testing going on there. So the USADA was really like detrimental towards only Americans because we're the only ones getting tested because that legally, and maybe like in Europe, some European countries, I'm sure, but like in the Russian Federation, they don't allow USADA in there. So they have a private company. But I mean, I also think it's a bad form to cancel it with the Conor thing. But then it's also like, I don't know.
Did you? What's it like for fighters? Let's say one fighter steps in the ring. Is it like really taboo? Like if you find out the other guy was juicing, are you like, wow, what a piece of shit? Or is it like, oh yeah, I get it?
I mean, I was looking back, like, yeah, I mean, now I'm like, yeah, I get it. But like, I was pissed every time I found out. I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, literally, it's so like,
is it a stigma or do other fighters know that each other are doing it? I mean, because you only hear like Chael talk about it once he's out.
yeah.
People don't really talk about it as much.
Yeah.
And then follow up to that is why do some people like John Jones get to skate so hard on it when TJ got nailed to the cross?
Yeah, you know, I think, I guess you're starting to get into conspiracy theories on that one, MMA conspiracy theories, because, you know, TJ, one reason he got nailed to the cross is he tried starting his own, like, federation. I don't know if you remember that, like a union or something like that. And everybody that was part of that pretty much got, like, nailed to the cross and in trouble. I mean, they went back and tested old samples of TJ.
For Cody's fight and
For
everything.
Cody's, but I mean, you go back and do that with every other fighter. I'm curious what happens. So it's kind of like, dude, and like for me personally, I was never like a steroid user, and kind of regret. I think that was the one thing that held me from the top 5. You know, like I would have been right
what
there.
would you say is the most used? Is it TRT or is it HGH, or what do you think is the best helper in fighting?
I think TRT right now, because anyone can go get it and you just get testosterone. But like I said, I'm not much into it, so I don't know too much about it. But there's a lot of people using peptides now. So peptides is like a new protein. I don't know if you've heard about these. I mean, once again, I'm not a doctor, so everything I'm saying is bro science.
And wrong, I'm sure.
And wrong, yeah. But there's like heard it on Joe Rogan podcast. So. But like peptides are the new steroid. It's like the finished protein of like you take testosterone, produces muscle. But instead of doing all that, you can just get the peptide that produces muscle. And so like you get these guys taking peptides for recovery. I'm sure BPO is just massively used.
You're talking about EPO?
EPO, yeah. EPO, not BPO. EPO. See, I told you, I don't know shit about it, dude. And I mean, like, anytime one of these fighters is traveling with their medical trainer, it's because they have to have their blood. Got to keep them on the cycle, you know? Like, dude, even like, remember what's his name said it? Bo Nickel, when he was talking about how he's going to go back to California to get on his next cycle with TJ's coach, and everyone's like, no, he just meant training cycle. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Do you think, okay, and we'll close out here, but Bo Nickel's not that tall, right?
No.
So I could probably.
Yeah, you could probably take it.
What was that?
yeah, I think.
All right, what do we got? What's coming up in the next week or so? They got. We're not going to talk about it yet, but it's UFC Fight Night. We're planning to do a big UFC night down in December 16th. It's going to be when
Leon Colby
fighting.
Yeah. And then the 25 pounders
fighters in there. We're going to work on getting some more fighters out here to Utah, but we got some big things happening. What's happening out of the pit right now?
We got a bunch of up and coming fighters. They're getting ready for Mike, who's broke your ankle, gets the 35 title. Jordan, the other 35er, kicked your ass on day 2.
That was day 2.
Day 2. I mean, he'll do it again if you want to set it up.
Tell him to pull up.
He's defending his local title. So we got a lot of things going, just constantly going on. Wrestling season's about to start, so all those wrestlers out there are getting ready. End of the year is kind of like I would almost say the slower time in the MMA world, because everyone's our gyms kind of slow down a little bit because people are waiting for New Year's. The fights start to slow down because of the holidays. So basically we're just getting ready to finish out our year and have some Christmas parties and stuff.
Love it. Take us out.
We never did our bets though.
Oh, what do we have coming up? Nothing.
No, should we review them or not?
Oh.
No?
All the ones that we bet on didn't happen.
Kind of review, yeah. That's
plus
true.
it didn't happen, remember?
Yeah, that's it.
They all
So we're
switched
good?
out. So cool. All right, guys, appreciate you. We'll see you next week on Coach and the Casual. Thanks for tuning into the Coach and the Casual. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and share it with your friends. Thanks again.